We have some big breaking news coming in. The Ministry of Home Affairs announced that it has revoked the detention of activist Sonam Wangchuk under the National Security Act. This comes 6 months after he was jailed for allegedly inciting a mob with provocative statements in Leh. And in a statement, the ministry said the decision was taken after due consideration, noted that Wangchuk has already undergone nearly half of the period of detention under the NSA. So now the MHA has revoked his detention under NSA. Sonam Wangchuk will now be released from detention after he was picked up by the police for allegedly inciting a mob with provocative statements in Ladakh's Leh. And now a statement has also come in from the ministry which says that the decision was taken after due consideration, and has also noted that Sonam Wangchuk has already undergone nearly half of the period of detention under the NSA. And this is a big development that's coming in. It's a major relief for Sonam Wangchuk and all his supporters, because their demand was to release Sonam Wangchuk from detention under NSA. And finally, the Ministry of Home Affairs has released a statement saying that the decision to revoke his detention under NSA was taken after due consideration, and noted that Wangchuk has already served nearly half of the period under detention while he was slapped with the NSA. This is a major update that's coming in. Government has revoked the detention of Sonam Wangchuk, a so-called climate activist. The MHA has revoked his detention under NSA, saying that he has already served half of the period that was required under the NSA while he was detained. And now Sonam Wangchuk will be released. But remember, viewers, Sonam Wangchuk was detained after he incited a mob with his alleged provocative statements in Ladakh's Leh. We're also trying to get more voices on this, but this is a massive update that's coming in. Sonam Wangchuk, who has been under detention in accordance with the National Security Act, has now been revoked. The detention has now been revoked. The Ministry of Home Affairs has said that Sonam Wangchuk will be released from detention after its considerations. And one of the major sticking points is the fact that Sonam Wangchuk has already completed half of the period that is required, that is 6 months of jail term. He was detained by the police, and NSA was also pressed against him. And there was a lot of hue and cry over NSA being pressed against Sonam Wangchuk, and that the decision must be revoked. But after several points the MHA has considered, Sonam Wangchuk's detention has been revoked under the NSA. So Sonam Wangchuk, after completing 6 months in jail, will now be finally released from detention. But this is a major relief coming in for Sonam Wangchuk, Congress's climate activist, who had landed in a controversy, who had landed in major controversy after his alleged provocative statements during a protest in Leh, Ladakh. We have Sneha Koshi, our deputy news editor, joining us on the phone line. Sneha, this is a major relief for Sonam Wangchuk. His detention has been revoked. Help us understand more. Sneha, if you could hear me, Sonam Wangchuk, his detention has been revoked by the Home Ministry. It has said that he has completed 6 months, which is half of the required time period that has to be served, and it's a major relief. What more are we picking up?
Well, in this case, what we are picking up, Deepak, is that the government of India actually raised artificial intelligence that was used to detect what they said were the charges against Sonam Wangchuk. So the Supreme Court questioned the center over the discrepancies, which in the translated speeches of Sonam Wangchuk. This is after the government said that they had used AI, or artificial intelligence, which is as a mode of translation. So this is the basic clause under which the detention, Wangchuk has been asked to be freed from detention, the NSA detention. In fact, the bench said the least it expected was a correct translation, noting that the version placed on record appeared far longer and materially different from what Wangchuk had actually said. So this is an entire issue that has cropped up over the translation of the speech of what Wangchuk said what the government had claimed was extremely inflammatory, was anti-India, anti-country, and that's why he was arrested under extremely draconian charges, for that matter, for inciting violence, for creating law and order, and of course for charges standing against the state. Now, it was Kapil Sibal who was appearing for Wangchuk, and he argued that the government had failed to respond to key objections that had been raised earlier in this particular case. Justice Arvind Kumar of the Supreme Court had actually pointed out to some of the allegations did not even find mention in the detention order. Those are the charges that were spoken of by the government in the court, but when it came to the detention order, those were not even mentioned there. So these were the grounds basically on which Sonam Wangchuk has been asked for, in which the state has been ordered to give an immediate release for Sonam Wangchuk from his detention, Deepak.
Right, and also Sneha, you know, the Congress party has been time and again saying that slapping NSA against Sonam Wangchuk was not justified in the first place. So the court's observation, does that prove this fact?
Deepak, that, we'll stick away from the politics for this point. This is something that the opposition has been saying, the India bloc has been claiming. But for now, we'll stick to what the court is saying, the two grounds on which the court really has spoken. One is of artificial intelligence that was used for translation. That seemed to be inaccurate. It did not corroborate with the time for which Wangchuk spoke vis-a-vis the translation of what was provided, and also the allegations made by the state before the court did not find a mention in the detention order.
Right, Sneha, thank you for joining me with those details. Well, this is a major relief for Sonam Wangchuk, Congress's climate activist who was detained after his alleged anti-national statements. NSA was also pressed against him and he was detained, and now his detention has been revoked on the grounds that my colleague and our deputy news editor Sneha Koshi just mentioned.